at your disposal to review whenever you would like. But this is Crooked Fiddle Tunes, Crooked NATO. I don't know anybody get that reference. It's always about the Sharknado and Shark Week and all that stuff. So we've got a whole bunch of Crooked Fiddle Tunes coming your way. We've got 3 of them in 3 different keys. What is a crooked tune exactly? A crooked tune is a song that has weird off-kilter measures and timing. Maybe you've got a measure, you've got 8 measures of 4/4 and 1 measure of 2/4, or 9 measures here, 7 measures here. And a lot of people have back and forth about how crooked fiddle tunes came to be. Some people may think that somebody misheard a song at some point and played it wrong, and then everybody learned it that way. Other people think that some of these songs came from different countries where they've got different time signatures, and maybe it got translated into 4/4, which left additional measures. Who knows? All we know is that they sound weird, and for that reason, they're so much fun. They're kind of like rebel fiddle tunes. And the king of the crooked fiddle tune is Don Petty. He's got a whole bunch of them. And one of the first songs I learned that was crooked was the last song we'll do today. And the reason that we're doing it last is because we have to tune down for it. And I want to make sure that we still have strings available to play the other couple of tunes. That's called The Old Black Cat Couldn't Catch a Rat. Boy, I tell you what, I played that song for the first time. I could not get enough of it, and then began my journey to find other crooked fiddle tunes. So I've got some for you that I think you'll enjoy, and we're going to start off with one that is a fairly popular jam tune, but a lot of times they won't break this one out early because not a lot of people know it, and it can be a real jam killer. Everybody's sitting around while like 7 people who know the tune like rage on this. So sometimes you have to wait until like 11 o'clock at night, follow Rick Thumb and Seifert, and they will guaranteed they love this tune. It's called Newcastle. Originally, it was called Newcastle. It was written in Newcastle, West Virginia by the fiddler Henry Reed. But he learned the Texas style of fiddling from this guy, this Texas guy, and learned the crooked style. And so he said, I'm going to try my hand at writing a crooked fiddle tune. And so he wrote Newcastle, but people knew he had learned the crooked style from a Texas fella, and so they began calling it That Texas Tune, which then shortly became Texas. So go ahead and pull Texas out of your folders. And we're going to do a little exploration of the paper before we get into it to kind of set you up for success. I like to do this with tablature that's not my own, so I know every nook and cranny before I try and play it the first time, and then I have a good idea about what fingers to use, the transitions to make, and that kind of thing. So I'm going to hit share. Okay. Texas, aka Newcastle. The funny thing about folk music is that some tunes will go by a number of different names. You can call Texas and a lot of people know what you're talking about. You can call Newcastle and a fewer number of people will know what you're talking about. Virginia is another title this song goes by, and no one seems to know. Jerry Milnes at the Elkins College said no one knows why, but some people call this Virginia. In any case, this is Texas for the most part. Let's see what we're looking at here. First of all, I'm going to always start right over here, and what we've got is a DAD tuning. We've got 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. We're in the key of A, so we're going to be capoing at the 4th fret for this one. And we are in 4/4 time, at least for now. The quarter note gets the beat, and 4 beats in the measure. So we take a look at that. Next thing I look at is navigation. And so the first thing we notice here is that we've got some dots at the beginning of the measure. Those are repeat symbols, so we want to look and see where they are at the end of a measure, and that's going to be down here. So that's the A section, and we've got 9 measures in the A section. We're already askew, right? We also have these happening here at the beginning of the B section and into the B section. So it's going to be 2 times through the A and 2 times through the B section. And that's our navigation, rinse, and repeat. Now there's one more unusual thing I want to point out here. This is not something you're going to see a lot of in mountain dulcimer music. It's a time signature change. This is accounting for the crooked measures. Crooked tunes are so hard to learn because we're so used to symmetrical measures, symmetrical, movements and little phrases. And so you hear something and you can't exactly tell exactly where it's going crooked. This is sort of my best guess in it, and by looking at other people's tablature, apparently it is exactly where it goes crooked. In measure number 8, there's a measure of 2/4, and in measure number 15, there is also a measure of 2/4. It's weird as all get out. So I'm going to get the overhead view going here so you can see what I'm doing on the fretboard. Capo 4. And this is the hot time of the day. My studio is on the west side of the house, and right now the sun is bearing full brunt upon my window here. And right about here is when the temperature goes up about 15 degrees and everything with strings in the studio starts to go a little wacky. So let me just do a quick tune up because I care, more importantly because you care. And I'm going to start off playing it pretty one note per, or one strum per melody note, nice and slow, and then I'll kind of start putting more stuff into it as I would perform this. This is Texas, also known as Newcastle, also known as Virginia, also known as that Texas tune. All right, there is Texas. Man, what a great tune. I'll never forget. It was probably 2008 in Kentucky Music Week. It was one of those 11:30 midnight things. And for those of you who've not been to Kentucky Music Week back in the old days, it was all held at this place, the Quality Inn. We called it the Low Quality Inn. And all the workshops were at the school, but at night, the jams were there at the hotel. And so, you know, if you couldn't sleep or didn't want to sleep, you could just leave your room and walk over and be in the main room. So I was kind of wandering around one night, and it was like Rick Thumb, Steven Seifert. There were like 4 or 5 people there. And they were jamming this tune. I had never heard anything like it before in my life. I was like, that is an awesome tune. So let's go measure by measure, and you saw me adding a little bit of harmony here and there, and I'll show you how to do that. But let's just kind of go and get our fingers oriented. That's really the most important thing with fiddle tunes, because you know you can play it noter style, but it's so much more effective if you're using fingers in series right next to each other. And this is one of those wonderful tunes where you have just enough up and down in the melody where 3 fingers put together will give you all the coverage you need, especially if you're a thumb player. And I primarily use index finger, middle finger, and thumb. So let's go ahead and take a look at the A part to start. I lead off with my thumb up here at the 11th fret, and then use these fingers to walk up 8, 9 to 10. Notice all I have to do is put my fingers down and leave them and then pick them back up again. So I'm not doing a lot of seesawing back and forth. When I start that 11, the middle finger is ready to go to land down here at the 8. Fits like a glove. Then put them all down. And see how just by keeping your fingers stationary and leaving them down, you're going to come back there. That's really cool, you know, so you don't have a lot of running around to do. You're going to shift that middle finger down to 7 to catch that. And then back up we go. With this, I typically just ride the middle finger down, and then you pick it up. I've never really bothered with trying to reset my hand to get the rest of that. It's a pretty mellow little passage there, so once you get down there, typically middle finger, index finger on 6.5. Okay, so for the A part again, another thing I'll do is I will get out of that and go to my ring finger, because these guys are already holding down the fort. So I can just go over and do that and then hop with my thumb to 11. And do the same thing with my ring finger there if I want. Whatever's comfortable for you, really. I find that I use different fingers at different speeds, depending on, you know, necessity, right? Okay, that's the A part. One little difference here, this little push rhythm is kind of funky, isn't it? That's really janky, and I thought that's a Seifert and Rick Thumb special right there. That was something they jazzed up. Actually, that's how Henry Reed wrote it, and I thought that was kind of cool, kind of forward thinking, you know. The thing is, some people don't play it that way. Some people do a walk down. And interestingly enough, in its adoptive state of Texas, people tend to play it this way. Texans like to play it this way. No push rhythm, just a walk down. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So you're walking down to the 7. So when you are playing this with people who are playing it, I guess the West Virginia style, there is no clash whatsoever. Both of these versions work together. I've played right next to Lloyd, who does the walk down, and I've done the push rhythm, and it sounds great together. So you don't have to worry about which version of this should I play in mixed company. It all works out really good. So sometimes I like to switch them out in the A part. Sometimes I'll do the Texas walk down, and sometimes I'll do the West Virginia push, depending on, you know, how I want to shake things up a little bit. All right, so that is the A part. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into the B part. And this has got little 3-note figures that are perfect for using this 3-finger configuration. We're going to start from here. I'm using these fingers because these are kind of my go-to fingers for that position down lower in A. Which leaves the thumb there to catch this. Now, at this point, I set the bottom finger, which is the finger that's going to hit the lowest pitch in this 3-finger configuration. I set it here, so that prepares me for the next leg up. Slide the thumb, and once again, you're at a point where you don't have to move your hand back and forth. So from the beginning of the B section, reset, and then, and this is great with the ring finger because the next thing you're going to do is just step off, so you don't have to push the ring finger anywhere. And that's it. So even though when you hear it, it's such a barn burner, and you see people flying on it, and you're just like, and then you look at the tab, and you're like, oh my gosh, really? But in reality, if you kind of carefully plot out your fingering and do the sequence thing, the sequence thing works, but sometimes you do still have to chase up and down the fretboard a little bit. It's giving you access to a certain part of the fretboard. This melody has been kind enough not to be terribly acrobatic, and so it's hanging out in these little bursts of 3 that you have perfect coverage for with a 3-finger situation. Not just the 2-finger and the thumb, but also the 3-finger, index finger, middle, and ring of Schnaufer style players. Same thing. You have that same range, and it works out really, really good. So let me go ahead and play through the A part twice, the B part twice, using that. And then I'll shed a little light on the harmonies that I'm bringing in here. All right. Now, I love this time of day. The sun always creates like a perfect stripe right across the octave of the dulcimer. It's like, oh. All right. Let's talk about some of these harmonies I'm bringing in. This is one of those tunes that really works so great against the drone that, for the longest time I never did anything at all with it. But there are chord sequences for it, and they are really cool. So we're in A, of course. So here's the normal established chord movement, and this is not what I'm playing in the background, but it's kind of what I'm getting towards. La dee da dee 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 dum dum, la dum dum da da dum dum bum, ya dum dum da 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 dum da da dum 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 da 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 dum bum, yum dee da do da dum bum ba, yum dum dum da da dum bum bum, yum bum bum ba da dum bum bum ba da dum bum 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 ba 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 bum bum, dum dum A da da dum dum dum, G then to D. A da da dum dum ba da dum 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 dum, E major back to A da da dum bum bum, G to the D to the A, da da dum 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 dum, E major A. That's sort of the standard conventional chording. I'm not doing all of that because I like that drone, but I'm putting a little bit of some harmony in here. And where is that coming in? The first instance is going to be here, E major. So with your, just drop in the 5 on the other side of it. It's our 5 chord, and so we were accenting the 5 chord, and that just kind of breaks up the drone a little bit and gives you some more foundation and some more positioning as far as that's concerned. In the B section, we come in with D major. So after you hit that, when you hit that 7, we're going to come in on 5 on the middle string. This is tricky because we've been using multiple fingers for this. We're using 3 fingers. But if you want to hold on to that harmony, you're going to need to run that with your thumb individually. It can be a little tricky when you're flying, but it's worth it, I think, to bring in the 4 chord at that point. And then bring your 5 chord back in. And that is Texas right there, including a little bit of the harmony as well. And I've got that demoed for you a few times here on the video, which will be in your folders next week. I'm actually probably going to start. I'm going to start processing them after the last workshop today, and we'll actually begin editing tomorrow in between concerts. Get them out to you as quick as I can. Any questions on Texas, aka Newcastle, aka every other name we talked about? All right. That is a fun one. A lot of people know that one. It's worth it to learn that tune. More and more people are joining us in the jam when Texas gets called, and everybody has such a great time with it, and it's just a lot of fun. So hopefully you can get that one under your fingers. This next one, I've never heard anybody except for Don Petty play it, of course. So you could go up in the mountains and play the heck out of this, but it's going to be a while before this one gets called in the jam. And I found this one based on Don's suggestion. I asked him, I said, man, I really like Old Black Cat Couldn't Catch a Rat. What's another good fiddle tune? And without hesitation, he said, Old Billy Hell. I went, gosh, that sounds fun. So get out old Billy Hell, and we're going to be capoed in the key of G for this one.